Alrighty. Okay, it's Friday once again, and let me see if I can bring us up on my laptop where we can see what's going on both places. Here we go. Absolutely. Okay, it's Friday again. I hope everybody had a good week. Had a kind of a busy week here in the man cave, but I got a lot done. But once again, I'm running a little late tonight. We were a little late getting dinner taken care of here in the man cave. So this week's beer, I'm going to start out with the beer. This is one of my favorite beers of all. This is in my top five. This is Rogue's Dead Guy Ale. Rogue is out of Newport, Oregon, and I used to be a lot bigger fan of Rogue than I am now. Rogue used to have a stable of some really good beers, I thought, and as I went and looked at their website today, I think they've gone off the deep end on a lot of their brewing. It's you should check them out. They've got some really stupid, crazy beers out there now, but this beer is a beautiful example of a German Maibach or Hellesbock. It's a really good beer. This one's 6.8% alcohol, and it has a IBU of 40, which is a pretty good balance for what this beer is, because this beer has a nice malty backbone. It's got a lot of good caramel and toffee notes that come along with crystal malts of various roasting, and it's a really good beer. So, for those of you joining us, tell me where you're from, and tell me what kind of beer you're drinking. We got Tom Cleveland. He's down in the Atlanta area. Michelle Washburn from Macon. Welcome aboard. But Rogue, yeah, Rogue makes some really good beer. They make a beer that I really love. That's really hard for me to come by these days. It's called Morimoto Imperial Pilsner, and it's a superb beer. But yeah, they have gotten a little crazy. They brew some really crazy flavored beers now, and it's like when I looked at their website today to look at all their current beers, I haven't looked at this in a long time, and I felt like I was literally a kid, literally in a candy shop, because it was all about crazy, insane flavors, crazy, insane colors and logos on the labels. I hope the beer is as good as they've done their artwork, because some of it is just not my style. It's not something I would pick up. But once again, this beer is in my top five. So if you get a chance to try Dead Guy, give it a shot. They also make a double Dead Guy, which I guess you could call it an Imperial Dead Guy, and it comes in a red bottle. I don't think it comes in 12-ounce bottles. I think it only comes in the bombers. So if you get a chance to get a double Dead Guy, get one of those too, because they're really good. Okay, this week's cooking in the man cave started out on a little different note. I had picked up a few sugar pumpkins at the grocery store last week, and I wanted to make some pumpkin puree because it is that season. Everybody's starting to think about fall weather, starting to think about Thanksgiving, Christmas cooking, and I'm not the world's biggest fan of pumpkin, but there are a few things I like making with pumpkin. And I figured this time I'm going to try it with fresh homemade pumpkin puree. So I bought 4 of these pumpkins. I halved them, I roasted them, and I peeled the skins off of them, and I made my own puree. And I've got about 5 pounds of that. And I made the first item with it today that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But baking is something I've gotten into fairly heavily this year. I made a commitment early in the year when I figured out I was going to be spending a lot more time at home than normal due to COVID. I was going to up my baking game. It's something I've been playing with for a long time. I got into sourdough quite some time ago, and I lost my feed on Facebook there. I don't know if I'm still with us or not. So let's try that again. If my live stream has stopped on Facebook, how about letting me know if somebody can tell me? But I don't know if I'm still feeding or not. My video went blank over there. So once again, I'm in a situation where I can't see your comments anymore. I see Keith Morris commented there. Okay, so it looks like it's coming back now. I still don't have my video feed back there. But anyway, I decided to get into baking, and I had been spending a lot of time previously doing sourdough, and one of the great things about sourdough is it is time consuming. It takes a long time to master the art of making sourdough bread, and I've gotten pretty good at it, but I wanted to go to the next level and up my baking game on a lot of other things. And each time I thought about it, I started making myself a list of things that I wanted to master when it comes to baking, which are rather simple things you would think. I made a list, and this list consists of I'm trying to get there we go. This list consists of a sandwich loaf, a plain white bread sandwich loaf, bagels. I wanted to learn to make great bagels. Cinnamon buns, like the Cinnabon cinnamon buns. Focaccia, ciabatta, dinner rolls, your typical yeast dinner rolls, English muffins, and croissants. And let me tell you something I've learned. I learned this actually when I started with the sourdough and with making my own pizza crusts. And this is that bacon's a lot harder than barbecue. Bacon's way more challenging than any barbecue I've ever done. There's a lot going on when you're dealing with flour, water, salt, and yeast. And I've started making some videos here on the Man Cave Meals channel. Once I've gotten through these things and got comfortable with them, I've gone back and made a video of the process. And so far, I've got the sandwich loaf, the bagels, and a basic sourdough loaf video up there. I shot a cinnamon bun video this week, and I got that edited today, and I'll probably put it online on Man Cave Meals early next week. But I've still got to do video on focaccia, ciabatta, the dinner rolls, and the English muffins. I'm definitely going to do. The croissants I'm still not 100% sure of. That's a really difficult thing to do well. So, I'm going to play with it and see if I can get there. But so that is what I did. Or let's see, let me get my train of thought back here now that I've got my video feedback. Okay, the pumpkin ties into the baking. I'm going to do some baking with the pumpkin. And today I made a no-bake pumpkin cheesecake that's currently still in the refrigerator setting up. It's probably ready, and I'm making video for that as well. But I'm going to do a pumpkin bread. I want to get my mom's pumpkin bread recipe, and I want to make a video out of it. It's a really sweet pumpkin bread. It's really good, and it's something I always remember my mom making this time of year because she would always make a bunch of it and freeze it. but it was still, we still managed to be out of it by Christmas or by the end of the year. So the freezer stash never got her very far. But I want to learn to make my mom's recipe on the pumpkin bread, and maybe I'll even shoot an intro and see if I can get mom to be in it with me, because that's going to be a fun video to make. Should be easy, shouldn't be hard at all. But use some of my fresh pumpkin puree to make that. In the past, with Kamado Joe videos I made last year, I made a pumpkin pound cake that was phenomenal. It may have been one of the best tasting pound cakes I think I've ever made. It rivals my blueberry cream cheese pound cake, and that's a really good pound cake. And the pumpkin pound cake was amazing. It's on the Kamado Joe channel on YouTube. And I make a pumpkin Asiago bread that's also really good. It's a fairly sweet bread, but it's got a savory side to it because it has Asiago cheese and some black pepper in it, and it's really good. I may make that again this year. We'll see what happens when that comes around. But the cinnamon bun video got made, and each of these recipes, in my process of what I call mastering the recipes, I ended up making most of them 3 or 4 times and making changes and getting everything aligned where my results were consistently perfect, consistently what I was looking for every time. Well, when I made the cinnamon buns this week to make the video, I had an unexplained situation happen. The results were perfect as far as taste goes, but these things puffed up a little bit differently than I've had them do in the past. And it's probably my fault because I actually used a different yeast than the yeast I had been using to make those. But I'm still going to post that video because that's a recipe that I got from King Arthur's website, and it's really good. It's like a Cinnabon, and it's that delicious. So if you like cinnamon buns, stay tuned for that video coming up this week. Let's see here. We got comments still coming in. I'm trying to keep up with some of that as we go. Keith Morris is with us. So do you still see Bobby and Eric? I haven't seen either one of those guys face to face since December. I've talked to Bobby a couple times, and I've talked to Eric a couple times since then, but I have not done a lot. So let's see. Luca Verini's with us. Luca said he saw the beer advent calendar at Costco today. I'm gonna have to go look for that. I think I'd like to have one of those. And Luca's got a birthday coming up this weekend, so happy early birthday. Luca's gonna be cooking a 17-pound brisket for his birthday, and I don't think I could imagine a better way to spend a birthday. I think he said he's gonna cook it overnight, but I don't know. I might camp out in front of a grill all day with the beer. I know Luca's got a stack of grills, so he's got some good ones. Let's see here. What else we got going on? The rest of my cooking this week. See, we talked about the cinnamon, the making the pumpkin puree, and then the cinnamon buns. I made I made pig candy that I posted on Atlanta Grill Company's sites on Thursday, which I forgot what day it is. Did I post that yesterday? I don't even know what day it is anymore. It is Friday, so yeah, I posted it yesterday. Pig candy's candied bacon. It's something I've done a million different ways, a million different times, but you just basically cook bacon on a sheet pan and you make your rub for it with brown sugar, a little drizzle of maple syrup, and whatever else you like to put in it. And all I put in mine yesterday was some ground clove and just a very small amount of cayenne pepper. And I like to cook that at 350 to 375 until the bacon crisps up. I used thick cut bacon, which took about an hour for it to get where I wanted it at 350ish. in the Kamado Joe. But then you just take it off and let it cool, and it becomes fairly brittle. You can cook it as crisp as you like, but these pieces of bacon that are candied like that with the sugar on the outside, there's a lot of cool things you can do with that. Uh, and one of the things I mentioned in the videos, you can stand up a piece of that in a bowl of ice cream as a garnish for a bowl of ice cream, or you can chop it up and you can put it on a salad, or you can mix chopped candied bacon in or non-candied bacon in with a chocolate chip cookie dough. It makes some really amazing cookies. Tom says dip it in chocolate. I made a batch of this one time and I melted chocolate and I drizzled some dark and light chocolate, just some very fine drizzles of chocolate on top of that. And yes, it was very good. It was awesome. Avery Wood Oven, Boston. What are you cooking this weekend, Johnny? I'll be cooking leftovers this weekend. I work my real job on the weekends, so I've got some brisket in the refrigerator that's going to go to work with me this weekend, and I might just take pulled pork one night, or I might cook a chicken breast. I don't do a lot of cooking on the weekend. Any cooking that I actually do on Saturday and Sunday is always something that's just going to go to work with me for dinner for that overnight shift I work at the hospital. After the pig candy, we made a Detroit-style pizza. I fired up the Alpha 4 pizza wood-fired oven for that job yesterday, and I used the Urban Slicer Pizza Works dough mix for that pizza crust. I've showed you all those dough mixes a while back. There's 3 of them, and I've used 2 of them already. We started out with the Neapolitan. I used the Detroit-style dough mix yesterday to make that pizza with, and it came out very well. It's a very wet dough. This dough was a little wetter than I'm used to seeing. I'm used to the fact that that dough's wet, but this one was really wet. But it cooked fine. I think the extra moisture in that dough didn't allow me to get the browning on the bottom side of the crust that I'm used to getting, but it was still good. It still tasted great. And I intend to try that one again. I want to get another one of those and see if I can improve it by changing my cooking technique a little bit. I'm actually going to run the oven a little hotter and try to get that fried crust on the bottom like you like on a pizza like that. So yeah, the Detroit pizza is my favorite. I think that's become my favorite style of pizza out of the ones I've cooked here in recent history. I like Neapolitan pizza, but I like this one a lot better for various reasons. Everybody's got their favorite style. Then the final thing I did today was this no-bake pumpkin cheesecake. I did that today. There's going to be a video coming out for that next week as well for Atlanta Grill Company as one of the shorts. I haven't figured out what my main cook for next week's going to be. I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of the game. My wife and I want to take a little vacation of some sort. Not what's the date? Not next weekend, but the weekend after. We'd like to go somewhere. I don't know what we're going to do. This COVID mess has still got it where I can't really decide where we want to go. But we haven't had a vacation this year, as have many people have not. And I may drive out to the coast. I may go out to the Outer Banks of North Carolina for a few days. I may find somewhere on the Gulf Coast to go even. I don't know. I'd like to go somewhere fairly quiet and just relax for a few days. So that's kind of where I am. I don't know what I'm going to cook this coming week. Haven't made up my mind yet. Let's see. David Andrews says he just did a Neapolitan on the KJ Classic. Deflector on the top position and stone on top of the grates. Burnt the bottom a bit. Yeah, the burning of the bottom is the big thing. That's something that's the dough's fault. If you burnt the bottom, the dough's not set up. Whatever dough you used is not compatible with the temperature. 9 out of 10 times when somebody tells me that, uh, it's because they've bought a store-bought dough and they've cooked it at an extremely high temperature. I don't know what you might have had there in that experience, but tell me if I'm right or not. Was it a store-bought dough? And if it was a store-bought dough, the packaging that comes with those doughs usually tells you what temperature you can cook at, and you really have to stick with those because they know how hot you can get away with cooking that. You can't just put any pizza on a 600 degree or a 800 degree deck and have it cook without burning like that. So yeah, we'll have a this will be a good topic for a live stream. I'm going to make a note of this. We'll do a live stream and talk exclusively about pizza because I haven't done that in a while. And I've learned a lot. I've done a lot of pizza videos, and I really go back and look at some of these pizza videos I did. Like one I did for Kamado Joe was called Pizza 101, and it was a very in-depth video on pizza. And when I go back and look at that video today, I realize two things. Number one, some of the things I did there with my dough recipe that we used in that are a little too complicated. They're more complicated than they need to be. And number two, I would cook differently. My philosophy on dough hydration has changed a good bit since I did those videos. The stuff I said in that video still works, but I've learned enough more about making pizza dough now that there's certain kinds of pizza dough you can make that'll work in about any circumstance, and I didn't talk about that in any of those older videos. And I've lost my video feed over there on the laptop again. So that's where we are with the cooking that went on here this week. And yeah, pizza's a good topic. Everybody likes to cook pizzas. I think pizzas are one thing a lot of people have in mind when they buy a Kamado Joe. Or it seems like it. You know, when we watch people show up in our social media groups, that seems to be something that people want to get done quickly as they're learning to use it. And unfortunately, a pizza is not the easiest thing in the world to make, especially if you're inexperienced at running the grill. There's some tricks, and as I've tried to show, that's one thing that's in that Pizza 101 video that I still stick by as being important, is setting up the grill like I showed in that video with the heat deflectors up top, something to put a gap between your heat deflectors and the pizza stone. That way your pizza stone won't overheat. It won't get enough hotter than the ambient grill temperature that you'll have to worry about burning your crust, unless your crust is not compatible with whatever temperature you've chosen to cook at. There's a common misconception, I think, about pizza when it comes to Kamado owners, and that misconception is that hotter is better, and that's just not true. That's only true with certain styles of pizza, namely the Neapolitan pizza. The Neapolitan style pizza is designed to cook and produce the way you see it done at 900 degrees. And in recent months, or in the last year or two, I guess, I've come to the conclusion that I don't think it's particularly safe to run your Kamado grill at 900 degrees. You can do it, and you see people doing it all the time. I won't do it, so you can take that as you will. I don't think it's safe. The bands get really loose. Now, I have not taken my classic 3 to 900 degrees, so I know the band setup's changed between the 2 and the 3 and the 1 and the 2. So I don't know what happens, but I know the older model grills, when I'd get the grill that hot, the bands were they were getting really loose, and I felt unsafe. And I felt like, it would be possible that the dome could come out of the band when you open the lid when they get that loose. I'm just not a fan of it, so I don't really recommend it. My favorite pizzas cook between 500 and 600 degrees. I don't have any reason to take mine hotter than that. When I want to do Neapolitan pizza, which I do occasionally, I go to my Alpha oven, or I go to the Rock Box, because those two ovens are designed to do that, and they both do it very well. Like I said, the Kamado will do it, but I think it's a little bit of a risky endeavor. If not for the bands getting too loose, for the possibility, the flashback that you get when you open the dome when it's that hot inside and getting a rush of oxygen in. So take that as you will. Everybody can do whatever they like, obviously, but that's just my 2 cents worth on running your Kamado that hot. I struggled a little bit this week to come up with a gadget to talk about. I got to looking around, and when I want to show you a gadget, I want to show you something because it's something that I use and I really like using. So far, we've done that. And this week, my gadget that I want to show you is a very simple pepper mill, or this is called the Everything Mill. This is made by Kyocera, and I just use this particular one for black pepper. And it's a very nice, it's very well made. The top pops off of it, and you have your grinder here that you can adjust by turning the dial, and you simply turn this thing up and twist it to get your fresh grated pepper. This mill is built in such a way that it's strong enough. You could do some other things besides pepper. You could do salt in this mill. You could do coriander probably in this mill. And a lot of your other smaller spices. I don't know if you could get away with nutmeg. If you had your nutmeg broken down enough, you might be able to grind it. But typically I do things like nutmeg and cinnamon on a microplane grater. But this guy is a replacement I bought for another style of this that I use. I've got a couple of these Kuhn Recon vase grinders. This one is a little bit larger diameter than the Kyocera, but this one opens up on the bottom, and you can put your salt or pepper in there. I just cleaned this one so it's wet. And this one this particular model has this opening here that you use to open it and fill it. I've got another one of these that's broken that, well, let me just grab it. This guy I like as well, and I keep this one for salt, but my base is broken on this one, but this one doesn't open up in the bottom the same way this one does. I've ended up with two different ones somehow or another. To refill this one, this piece comes off, and you just twist this loose, and you can put more in there. But I use this one for I use this one when I want coarse ground salt for something like a finishing salt. If I'm not going to use the Malden sea salt or the other finishing salts I have, if I just want a general purpose coarse grade salt, I use these. But these are really nice to have around. You can find these on Amazon. They're about $25 a piece. And I checked earlier today, and both of these are still available. Now, I didn't look closely enough at Amazon to see which style they have. I know that these guys are available in different colors and different configurations. I actually have a third one here somewhere that when it has this same setup, but there's a container that attaches to this that's open on one end, and you put it in and it fits in place, and it's designed where you can keep multiple spices in it, and all you have to do to switch them out is take this out and put another one in. So I don't know if that's still available, but you have the Kuhn Recon vase grinders and the Kyocera, the Everything Mill, and I really think I like the look and feel of the Kyocera Everything Mill better than the Kuhn Recons, but they're all good. And these are items that sit out on my counter all the time. I'm always using fresh ground black pepper, and I'm always using the salt grinder. I use those frequently. I get everything. I also keep this. This is another thing. It's in terms of gadgets. That just reminded me. I've got a good kitchen gadget for next week. That's a cheap one that everybody should have based on that. So I'll tell you about that later. So I guess that's where we are. I lost my video feed over here on the laptop, but the comment feed's still running. Let's see. Luca's got his brisket out there. Oh goodness, I lost it again. Luca's prepping that brisket. He's going to cook that. What I'm hoping he's going to do is I'm hoping he's going to salt it up or put his rub on there or whatever and wrap it back up and put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. That's what I like to do. So, yeah, that's a nice looking brisket. And I don't know what's going on with the live stream. I'm apologizing if it's super choppy. Like I said, I've lost my own video feed on the laptop. So we'll probably just wrap up. I don't know what's happening there. So, guys, I appreciate you coming in with us. And until next week, this is John Setzler.